So we're going to get started because we have some amazing Latina women here tonight on this panel. And this is we brought this together thanks to Prisca Salazar Rodriguez, really about the empowerment of women in small business, entrepreneurs, Latinas, which we are so proud to have here in the Bronx. And tonight's conversation is really about learning how they are so powerful and how the rest of us can just grab that energy from them. The second is really learning how do you do business in the Bronx as a Latina? How do you work with others? What makes you successful? We have some wonderful questions for these ladies here tonight. It's being emceed by Lourdes Zapata from SOBRO. Lourdes, thank you so very much. And I am known to screw up names, and anybody who knows me knows that. So I am going to get the opportunity to introduce these beautiful ladies. Before I start, I will say this: the Bronx Chamber of Commerce over the course of the last 2 years, which I have been at the head, has really worked hard to empower entrepreneurs, empower our women, women of color, and generally any small business, which makes up over 50% of our economy here in the borough. We have been hit by the largest impact from COVID, from the pandemic. We have seen businesses shuttered, but the ladies you are seeing before you tonight have overcome, driven through, have succeeded, and they will share with us some of the secrets of their success. So I'm going to do a plug for the chamber, just to tell you that for those listening, we're here to help everyone. Our job is to make our small businesses succeed. Our job is to make sure that you're having troubles, you have questions, we will guide you, handhold, whatever we need to do to make sure that our businesses stay open, our commercial corridors stay active, and that everything we do here in the Bronx, because this is where everybody should be coming. So with that being said, I am going to introduce these beautiful women. They will introduce themselves. I will put up the bio next so that you can read through. They will share their information at the end of the evening with their websites and how to communicate. Of course, you can always come contact us at the Bronx Chamber. And like I said, especially now during this period of the pandemic, we are offering very direct services. So please reach out. We don't want any small business to close. We are here to make sure you keep those doors open. So I have the privilege of starting, and I'll grab it from the picture above, with Tiffany Gomez. Welcome tonight, Tiffany.
Thank you for having me.
Anna will put up your bio, and if you can introduce yourself to the wonderful audience we have here tonight.
Sure. My name is Tiffany Gomez, and I am the owner of Gomez Design Studio. I started Gomez Design Studio about 4 years ago, and I make furniture, mostly furniture and art, from salvaged and recycled materials, particularly wood. My background is in architectural design, and since starting this business, it's transformed into something that is really passionate about sustainability and creating with what we have. So taking art, taking design, and learning how to be self-sufficient. So what started as just me creating just because I enjoy it has turned into me wanting to educate and be more involved within the community. And again, going back to being self-sufficient and learning how to create with what we have. So
Thank you so much. And in a time of environment, recycled, there's actually more value in that than there are going to a regular big store. So thank you for bringing your creativity to our borough. Next, I have Noel Santos from the LitBar. Hi, Noel.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here. So the bio that's gonna pop up is super outdated. This was when I was in my startup phase. At this time, I was an HR director and accountant, and I came across a petition on Facebook saying that the last bookstore in the Bronx was in jeopardy of closing. So I signed the petition, but I didn't feel better about it. So I decided that I was going to be the one to light my life on fire and open a bookstore. We're a community of 1.5 million people and 10 colleges. And it was just mind blowing to me that we didn't have a bookstore. I had no experience and no money or know-how to put this all together. And now I own the LitBar, which is the only bookstore in the Bronx at 131 Alexander Avenue. And also feature a wine bar.
Thank you, Noelle. And I will say firsthand that I've had the privilege of visiting, and it's a place where you want to go and not leave. So really she has to push us out the door because it is really welcoming, enjoyable, and those who know me know how much I love my wine. The next beautiful woman that we have is Haydee Longmore. Hi, Haydee.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me. My name is Haydee Longmore. Everyone's
Haydee. I told you about the names. If I don't do it at least once,
that's okay. I am the owner of Haylo 3D Imaging in the Bronx. I've been an ultrasound tech now for 22 years. I am a 46-year-old mom of 2 boys, owned Haylo 3D now for 8 years. I worked as an ultrasound, actually I worked as a high-risk ultrasound technician at the Hospital of Our Lady of Mercy before Montefiore took over. I was there with them for 14 years, and during the transition from Our Lady of Mercy to Montefiore, there were so many loopholes of, you know, how they wanted us to travel and changing our schedule, and with having 2 boys and, you know, sports and trying to, you know, balance motherhood and being a wife and working as a full-time mom, I decided that I was just going to take a leave of absence. I used my retirement and I invested in, you know, this small space of an ultrasound studio that I created and just became passionate with what I did and decided that I was not going to go back to working corporate and became an entrepreneur.
That is an amazing story.
Thank you.
Congratulations. You know, it's incredible that everything that you beautiful women are speaking about comes from something that just was missing, and you caught that. And that's where it all really begins. Our other beautiful Latina, Rosa Garcia.
Hello, ladies. First, I want to say thank you to Priska for putting this together. And of course, when I saw that Lisa was going to be here, I had to participate. And then I saw my boo Noelle, and I was like, I'm in. But for those that don't know me, my name is Rosa Garcia. I am the sole owner of my Haylo Bar and Grill, located on 1 Bruckner Boulevard. Really quick, I started working there in 2007. I found the job on Craigslist. I started as a bookkeeper, property manager. Then Hurricane Sandy happened in 2012, and the owners and the landlord couldn't agree to disagree. And that's when I came in, gave them a business proposal. I got a loan, and I became the sole owner in 2013 after working there 5 years. So I went from employee to employer. I just celebrated 7 years as a sole owner in November of 2020 of this year, right? During a pandemic. I am a single mother of 2 girls. And like I was saying earlier, I'm joining the 4th floor. So I'm turning 40 on Sunday, which I am very proud to say my age. As Latinas, I think sometimes we have that stigma where we're afraid to say our age, but you need to be proud of who you are, where you come from, the age, because just embrace it. And yeah, I'm into hospitality. I love women empowerment. I love doing panels. I like to help others, especially women. I like to be a role model to my kids. And I should be opening another business, which I will be calling Lisa. And it's already in the works. It's already signed. The lease is signed and everything, but it will be around April of 2021. So God willing, everything will be successful because being a mom is tough. So being a business owner is like a walk in the park. So thank you for having me.
Congratulations on all fronts. And I am super thrilled to hear about your business. Oh my God, I'm so proud of you. I'm proud of all, and Noelle's heard this, and my other 2 beautiful ladies, the one that I said her name incorrectly, Haydee.
I'm ready.
Okay. There's got to be one. There's one. And Tiffany, I am very proud of you ladies, and we have an amazing group. So I can just praise you forever and tell you how this is exactly what we need. I'm also a mom of 2 daughters, but I will say that whatever magic you ladies have on that screen, you need to share on this end. So I am going to turn it over to our beautiful Lourdes, who will be leading the discussion, and I will be on for anything that you need. Rosa, I'm so excited for you, and gracias a todos ustedes por estar con nosotros esta noche. Lourdes.
Thank you, Lisa. Buenas noches, everybody. I'm really thrilled to be here. Also, Lisa, thank you for your leadership at the Bronx Chamber of Commerce. SOBRO, as a nonprofit community and economic development organization that's been based in the Bronx since 1972, owes a lot to organizations like the Bronx Chamber that have been just a wonderful partner and mutual supporter. So very thrilled to be spending tonight with you. I want to thank Prisca Salazar Rodriguez and Teresa Gonzalez for inviting me to moderate this panel. Prisca called me a few weeks ago and said, I'm hosting a panel about Latina business owners. And as the daughter of a Latina business owner from the South Bronx, it's just a no-brainer. You know, what do you do? So I have the spirit of my mother over my shoulder, making sure that I don't screw this up. My goal tonight really is to share your wisdom of all of our panelists. You each in your own rights are masters of the industries that you serve and are operating in a very critical industry, a very critical time. Business ownership, there's nothing sexy about business ownership. Again, my mother was a business owner, and it's hard work. It's long hours. It's a dedication and a passion that you have to have and demonstrate. And you guys are holding it down, not just for yourselves and your families and your businesses, but the community and the customers that you are serving. And so anything that I can do to help highlight the amazing work that you each are doing, more than happy and thrilled and honored and humbled to be in your presence this evening. You ladies are demonstrating resilience. You demonstrate hustle, creativity, brilliance, and passion. And we're going to talk about all of that tonight. So to our audience, get your seatbelts on. You're going to hear from some real super women this evening. Let me start by asking you each just a real basic question. What prompted you to start a business here in the Bronx? What led you to make that decision? I know we've heard a little bit about your personal stories, but what is it about the Bronx that captured your attention and said, this is where I need to be? Tiffany, can I ask you to start with that?
Yes. Well, the first thing for me starting a business here, it's my borough. It's where I'm from. I'm born and raised here. And just realizing through design school how other places and other cities have advanced, I felt like the Bronx was very behind in certain things. And just thinking about how design and art and sustainability can really benefit us here, I thought it was very important for me to start here, and at least in some small area. Like I said, it started with just creating pieces on my own, but this year I'm really trying to get this more out into the hands of the community. So this borough, it needs something, you know, and I hope I can bring a little bit of that this year, at least the start, you know, baby steps, but yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Rosa, do you want to build on that?
I mean, I was not born here. I was born in the Dominican Republic, but I've been in the Bronx for over 22 years now, and I love it. I've not just for, I mean, excuse me, because my tongue, sometimes I talk so much, but I just love the Mott Haven community and how close we are to each other. Like whenever we need help, like I could go to Noelle, I could go to Verde Flowers, I could go to any of the businesses in the area, and we are like a team and you feel united. So that's what I like about the Bronx. We're not just in competition with one another. We're there to help each other. We want everybody to succeed. So I'm glad to be part of the team, and I want the Bronx to succeed and every business in the Bronx to succeed as well.
Yeah, that sense of community is definitely there. All your fellow panelists are nodding as you're saying we can support each other.
I love my people.
And help each other out. Yeah. Haydee, would you care to share on any of that?
You know, for me, it's a little different for me. You know, when I've lived in the Bronx all my life. I've worked in the Bronx, I went to school in the Bronx, and then I moved into Yonkers. And I was transitioned from, living in Yonkers now and trying to get involved with my community in Yonkers. And it turned out to not work out for me the way I had hoped and planned, because I had purchased a home here. So, it's just like, I felt like I had to go back into my roots. And when I decided to open up my business, the better place for me would be where it can be more convenient for me during with my children with school and sports. So, for me, I kind of like had to find a space where it could work for me to balance out being a mom and also a business owner. So it was a little different for me. I just wanted to be able to do both. And I was trying to find a way to make that balance. And so this is the reason why I chose to come into, to stay in the Bronx.
Sure. Funny you said that, because as you were speaking, I've heard community, I've heard creativity, and balance was the word that came to mind as you were speaking. Noelle, anything you want to add before we move on?
So I'm not proud to say, but once upon a time, I used to measure my success by how far I could get away from the Bronx. And it wasn't until, I did the research and I put in the work and I realized that our last bookstore was in jeopardy of closing, that I started looking at myself and I felt like a coward. Like you thinking about leaving your borough and taking your education, your greatest resource, and leaving your borough in no better condition than you found it in. And I started looking at myself and saying, I'm tired of signing petitions. I'm tired of begging corporations and developers and politicians to do the right thing. What do we, it's going to take people like me to stay and invest in our communities and empower ourselves and lift anybody else up who is not in that, who doesn't have the privilege to do so. Books was my ticket, to be able to, to evolve from out of sound view and climb the corporate ladder. Book selling was not my career. It kind of happens to me, but it's definitely a calling and the best, craziest thing I've ever done.
Yeah, and the borough, I think, gets in your blood, right? I was born and raised in the South Bronx, and I think either like you and Noelle as well, you grow up, you get your education, and you envision that where else should I be, until you end up realizing that where you need to be is where you started, and meeting with your community. So what I took out of these powerful statements is community, creativity, balance, and commitment to our borough. And learning what we need to do. So we've talked a little bit about the wheres. I'd love to talk a little bit about the who's. You are all entrepreneurs. You are all business owners. And you are all Latinas. So as Latinas, do you think that there are unique challenges for Latina women to open businesses? If you do, and if you don't, do you think there are any challenges that are unique to operating businesses in the Bronx? And I'll open that to anyone who just wants to jump in.
I'll start. One of the unique challenges I think I faced as a Latina business owner was being able to connect with financial advisors to help me start and take the steps as a business owner. I come from, I'm first generation of, graduating college and buying my own home and even owning my own business. My mother was a Latina mom who was part of a statistic. She had me at 16 years old and raised me by herself, and her parents lived in Puerto Rico, and so I was kind of I was raised to believe that you have to go into corporate, and so corporate for me was, I just got so accustomed to just a 9-to-5 job. I didn't have those connections with people until of course I opened up my business and I networked with women. But I faced a lot of challenges in the beginning because I decided to just start with an empty space, with a blank canvas. And I just dove right in without understanding what comes with that. And again, one of the things were, just understanding that you have to have, you have to do quarterly taxes, and, you have to have your tax ID, and just all of that information came to me so late, and I felt like there were so many things that I missed out on the very first year of me opening my business. And I was very close to actually my business closing because I didn't have those resources.
Right, right. Anyone else want to add to that?
I mean, I would say, but I didn't have any challenges. I kind of like prepare ahead. I go to other businesses like-minded, like myself, and I ask you 101 questions, and I get my information that I need. So like I then mentioned, like the sales tax, I know how to file my sales tax. I know how to log into the Department of Health. I know how to pass every inspection. I've been to every court hearing with the Department of Health. I filed my own liquor license without a lawyer. So it's all about taking your time, doing what you have to do, asking the right questions. Like Noelle came to me and she asked me questions. I will give you whatever information you need to know that I've done for you. And I think we need to remember that. We need to be able that if you got that information and you could provide it to somebody else, give it to them for free. But sometimes people get to a certain level that is like, oh, I'm too good to give you that information, or, oh, I'll charge you or whatever fee. Come on. If we're really about women empowerment, we're really about helping one another. If there's something that I know, I'm gonna share it with you. And I think that's what we need in order to succeed, in order for other business owners like ourselves to open a business and feel confident, to just walk somewhere else and ask them any question.
Having that resource.
Yeah, you need to.
Yeah.
So if you guys have any questions, you can tell me, guys.
Yeah, amen to that. Amen to that. So as you ladies embarked on this journey of starting a business, did you feel support? Did you feel the support from your family, from your community, from your partners, from the business community, wherever, whatever resources that were available that you knew of? And if you didn't, what do you think would have been most helpful to you to have when you were starting your business? Haydee, I'll ask you to kind of kick off that question.
Haydee.
I was very supported. During that first year, I faced a challenge because just like Rosa, I opened in 2012. Actually, it was 10, 11, 12. It was during that time, like 2 weeks before the Sandy hurricane. And so right after that, of course, we had the snowstorms and then the holidays. And I think it was like the first 4 or 5 months where I had to try to figure out, wow, I have this space. What am I going to do with my business? How am I going to grow this business? I was so new to social media. I had not known other women in businesses. And I did connect to someone who was very influential to my life at this time. She was a business owner. I was introduced to her, and she owns a business. She actually currently owns a business in Washington Heights. And, she met me, we took a liking, and she posted me one day in her social media. And I think I had like maybe 25, 30 followers. And it just helped, grow my business. And I networked. She kind of like gave me that guidance. Like, listen, there are all these networking events that you can attend. She herself was just starting all these events and dinners, and it helped promote my business. And then I realized at this point, the only way that I'm going to grow in this business is if I do the same thing. If I just try to help someone, even if she's making cupcakes, anything, if I try to help promote her the way I was helped, promote it for my business, we're just all going to equally grow. And so this is what's helped me throughout the last 8 years on building Haylo, just networking and showing support to other women. Women need women, and I think we get to a certain age where we realize we need more women in our life than we usually, than what we do in our 20s. We go through these transitions in our life. In our 20s, we're set out to try to please people. In our 30s, we're looking to find our place. And in our 40s, it's like, hey, what about me? And then this is when you realize you need your friends, you need your family, you need all the women to help support and help you grow. So I was able to have that with women that I did not know, which was even more amazing because they became like sisters to me.
Yeah, that's really amazing and really builds upon Rosa's point about community and supporting each other as women, not just as Latinas, but as women and as business owners, making sure that we're sharing the wisdom and trying to make it a little bit easier for the next person. Tiffany, is there anything else you want to add to that piece?
Yes. When I first started, I'm very grateful for the support that I had from the very beginning. I don't think I would really be where I am had I not had that support. I started my business right after I had my son, and I was going through a separation with his dad at that same time, and just decided like I was not going back to my 9-to-5 job because I wasn't going to spend enough time with my son. So I was broke, going through a divorce, and I had a new baby, and decided I was going to just do this and do it wholeheartedly. And thankfully, my parents were extremely supportive of me, and my family and my friends, and even, strangers on social media over time would just be like, I'm so proud of you. And I'm like, oh my goodness, that's so nice to hear. And just having that help mostly with my son, because I could never really just be in my studio working for hours and hours and hours. I would always have to take time to be a mom. So, when most people start their businesses and if they don't have kids, they can dedicate 18-hour days. I could do no such thing. So I'm really grateful for that support. And again, I wouldn't have gotten this far without it.
Yeah, thank you for that. I mean, mentorship and champions and supporters are critical, no matter where you are and no matter what industry, whether or not you are an entrepreneur. But I think it's all that more important when you are trying to not just be a parent, not just be a woman and a Latina and a socially and community minded individual, but also start a business and start, building some wealth for your family and your community. My next question, I'm going to ask Noelle and Rosa to answer. And obviously, we are all in a very difficult time right now. Clearly we have experienced a year like none other, not just from a health perspective, but from an economic perspective. And obviously the obvious question to me is, for someone like Noelle and the businesses that you have that is customer centric, how did the pandemic affect your business? How were you able to pivot your business and your services to ensure your continued survival?
So I'll start. So the LitBar is a bookstore wine bar. So we are facing like all the regulations for the food and restaurant industry as well as retail. The LitBar was also only 10 months old when we shut down in March. I know like if it's based on my own merit, then I'm gonna win, but this is the first time in my life that I feel like I faced a hardship and my hands were tied completely behind my back. And then, I dusted myself off, and my first priority was to find, I found other jobs at restaurants for my team so that anybody who wanted to work could work. So I tapped into my network. We were talking about like our, network and community people in Mott Haven, hired my team at their restaurants so I could just take that weight off of my plate. Then my next priority was for me to pivot to e-commerce. So I hired a third-party company to handle all of my customer service and fulfillment, because you were only allowed to be one person in your store. So how am I supposed to pack and ship and do customer service and everything? So I outsourced it. And that was like the foundation for where the position I'm in today, which is a very, very different picture. my next step was to change my business model. So instead of like that hand-to-hand combat and hand-to-hand sales, I focused on B2B, so business to business sales, and reaching out to anybody who lost out on their graduation. Okay, what can I put together a book box for you? You know, I was always looking for how can I meet the needs of the time. So I knew graduations were getting canceled and teachers appreciation days were canceled. So I was putting together products to meet these new needs. We pivoted to virtual events. The LitBar is known for our in-store events. We don't just do readings, we do lights, camera, action. So trying to translate, it's not the same, but trying to translate that energy into virtual events and connecting authors to our community who historically doesn't have that connection with publishing industry, you know, just trying to translate that online and really taking, keeping an ear and a pulse on the time. So I created a reading list called Dear White People, which is all my recommended books for any white people who want to learn how to be allies and drive the conversation forward. And then
I love it.
And then that list went viral. Usher and Martha Stewart and Liza Koshy shared that list, and I have done $1 million in sales every month.
Wow!
I launched that in, I want to say, June.
Oh my God.
It's a very different picture today. I was down to my last $9,000 in March of 2020.
Wow.
I want to be like you when I grow up.
Yeah, no kidding.
That's awesome.
That is amazing.
I want to go work for you.
Me too.
Rosa, how are you going to follow?
You hiring?
Like Lisa.
I mean, that's a tough act to follow, but for me, I also closed for about 2 weeks around March. I tried the delivery only for a week. It was not even worth doing delivery only because that was barely enough to cover the Con Ed. And after making, like Noelle said, making calls and just reaching out to the community, here to here, I reached out to them. And they connected me with World Central Kitchen. And thank God, as of April, I was working with World Central Kitchen. And I mean, it's good and bad. It's bad because we're in the middle of a pandemic, but it's good because I made so much money in 2020 that I've never made in the other 6 years that I've been in business. So because of making so many essential meals, I went from like, oh, you making essential meals? Okay, I went from 500 meals to like over 1,000. So I was working. I didn't want to sleep. I was like, I don't know how long this pandemic is going to be. So I need to make sure my coins are in my bank. So I went from one account with World Central Kitchen. Every time they needed more, I would do it on weekends. I was doing produce bags. Then I got another one and I was personally delivering them to Queens, to Brooklyn. It was with Common Threads. Then World Central Kitchen closed, I believe, in October. I already had another one with Rethink. So that's how I've been able to stay open the entire 2020 and still 2021. And yeah, it's just a matter of like, a closed mouth is not going to get fed. So I ask questions. I see you have a restaurant, you doing meals. How are you making those meals? Can you connect me to that person? Let me see if I could get in it. And yeah, I mean, so far it's been a blessing. I don't have my bartenders because I don't have a bar. Right now I'm not doing indoor or outdoor because it doesn't make sense. But what's keeping me alive and open are the essential meals that I'm able to make. And yeah, I'm looking forward to spring so I could use those benches outside. So at least I have some outdoor seating. But during this pandemic, it's been very tough, not just trying to get more accounts to make essential meals, but the city, man, these guys are coming hard. They are coming every day or every other day. Did you have how many people, occupancy on sticker on your door? Yes, look, it's on that wall. Where's the face mask? Where's the cleaning log? Where's the temperature log? Where are the stickers on the floor? Where's this? And I'm like, I'm going crazy trying to find accounts, and you guys are harassing me about a sticker. Like, I have 30 more on the floor. It's just, I just wish it kind of gave us like a little bit of a breather because it's already hard. It's a pandemic. I'm pretty much, if it wasn't because of the essential meals, I'll be making 20% of like my sales from what I normally make. But for us to kind of like continue just getting bombarded, you know, they're not helping in any way, shape, or form. It's just an amount of stress that it's hard to disregard because it's there constantly 2-3 times a week. But yeah, it's just part of the, I guess it's just, you know, you cannot just, you know, be all fun and games, you know, you have to.
It's part of the growth.
There you go. Yeah. So, and I deal pretty well with stress. I have a 4-year-old and a 13-year-old. So trust me when I tell you, it's nothing.
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, I think, you know, resilience and empowerment is the word of the evening, right? You ladies have been able to be agile and flexible and adhere to what I've always heard is kind of the mantra of successful business, which is that you fall in love with the problem, not the solution. You know, Noelle, in your case, the problem you were solving for was bringing reading to the masses and bringing opportunities. And so the solution had to pivot as it needed to. And the same thing with Rosa, you know, your problem that you're trying to solve is you want to serve great meals to the community. And how can you continue to do that in a different way? Much like the person who had the idea that, you know, people want to be able to take their music with them in a portable fashion, maybe started with 8-track tapes and then eventually realized that that's not where you want to go because that's not the future. And so that went to CDs, which went to now where we have. So the problem is not always the bigger challenge. It's how we address it with the right solution. And you ladies have great examples of that. You know, when we're talking about small business owners and Noelle and Tiffany, I'm going to ask you guys just to kick us off with some of this information. You know, when business owners face a lot of challenges when economies shut down, whether it's a pandemic or a hurricane or any other type of emergency, the thriving ecosystems that best support our entrepreneurs require the participation of everybody in the community. And Rosa, as you mentioned, including the policymakers, which are probably most prevalent in this work. But we don't feel that the entrepreneurs, many entrepreneurs don't feel that policymakers are fulfilling their roles as active contributors, as Rosa started to talk about. So what do you all see? My question to you is, what do you see as the key to success in ensuring that your business is able to thrive in the current business environment? And in your opinion, what are the key elements to a successful strategy to stay open or to reopen if you face yourself having to close? And Haydee and Tiffany, I'll ask you both to answer, and whoever wants to go first.
I guess I'll start on this one. The ability to pivot, like you said, it's extremely important because we never know what's going to be thrown at us. And even with policies, we don't really know how proactive they're going to be in keeping us alive, basically. And I would say, social media is a really great tool. And it has been for me. I don't think my business would be where it is without it. And it's a great way to engage with your audience and ask them, you know, maybe what is it that you need? And that way you can kind of determine in your business, maybe I can pivot here and try something different and adhere to a different audience this time around, because what I was doing before is maybe not working in this difficult time. So just for example, I mean, this didn't happen to me during the pandemic, but teaching classes was something that I had never thought about doing. And just through social media and people requesting it, I was able to pivot in my business and try that, and it became very successful. And that's when I realized I was helping a lot of people learn something that they didn't learn before, and they are now taking this little class and applying it to their lives. And so it's different for every business, but social media is a great way to engage with your audience and ask questions and have polls and do live videos and see what people need, because that's really where it is. It's that community support and that engagement with each other. So.
Thanks, Tiffany. Haydee, is there anything more that you would want to add?
You know, helping others, you know, during the time of need, you know, and I know most of us, you know, probably went through a transition where, you know, business had changed, you know, you're trying to figure out financially what are you gonna, what's your next move, what are you gonna do? But I decided to just reach out. I was a little nervous, to be transparent with you. I was a little nervous to do anything through social media because I didn't know what it could cause, what turmoil it could cause for me, because you know, I was afraid. I didn't have all the information. So I started reaching out to moms that I knew, you know, that were following me on social media. I started, you know, private messaging them and asking them if they needed anything, or if they knew a place where I can donate Pampers and baby clothes. And so, you know, in the very beginning for myself, I never went public with it because, you know, from April and May and June, we kept going through that whole, well, we're going to open in 2 weeks, we're going to open up in 4 weeks. And I felt like I was so misinformed. And so I was afraid at that time. So I kind of like did things in a different way. I just started reaching out to my clients, and, you know, I shot them an email. I through my email list on Square, I just sent everyone a link and asked if they were in need of any, you know, food or just anything, just to reach out. I was trying to be like that resource because I had so many moms that wanted to donate stuff to me. And I ended up using my studio as a location to store some stuff, you know, like clothes and Pampers and milk. And so I just kind of like did things behind the scenes just because I didn't know, I didn't have no one that I know owns the same business as myself. So it was a lot harder for me to connect with other business owners that do. And most of them were not opened. And so I tried to find different ways of helping others. And I really believe that, you know, that helped me when I did open. I had, like Rosa has said, you know, because I didn't really know anyone that owned the same business like myself, I had to do a lot of research on getting my permit to become an essential business. And I started just Googling, you know, how, you know, to the CDC, how, you know, how do I open up, or how do I get a permit for my to become an essential business? And I just kept going through links, and I finally found the right link, and I was able to get approved to become an essential business. And within like 2 months, I was able to reopen. And, you know, I've been blessed that, you know, since this pandemic, there's just been lots of babies being born, you know, and so we've been very, very, very busy. But, you know, like Rosa said, you know, it's really hard because I have to keep the occupancy very small. I can only allow 2 people at a time. And, you know, they come, they investigate, and they look to see that you're following all the CDC guidelines. And so that's made it really hard for some growth. But at the same time, it's kept me very, very busy. Through social media now, knowing that, you know, I'm back in business, it's made it even better for me.
Yeah, thank you for that. So Rosa and Haydee, I'm going to ask you both to respond to this question. And I will say, if anyone wants to jump in, please do. I just want to try and kind of keep the discussion moving. So please stop me if there's added information you want to jump in on. So I want to talk a bit about, you know, the neighborhoods, obviously neighborhoods like the South Bronx, many neighborhoods throughout the city of New York that were hardest hit by the job losses that we saw with our pandemic. And the neighborhoods are not just home to the jobs, but we're home to the workers that operate in industries like tourism and hospitality and transportation. So our neighborhoods tend to bear the brunt of the economic downturn that the rest of the city faces. And our community is, particularly in the South Bronx, tends to be most at risk. So, you know, I'd love to hear your thoughts on entrepreneurship as a pathway to wealth and income generation, and where you see this going within, whether it's within your family or within, you know, with partners that you've worked with. You know, how can we help folks that have that desire, that passion, that intention of creating a business? How do we make sure that we properly support small business owners? And I will say to our listeners, in the chat, you will find information about the Bronx Chamber of Commerce, which has some amazing resources for small businesses. You should please also reach out to SOBRO if we can help you as small businesses, but more importantly, you need to listen to these brilliant women who have actually made it happen. So talk to us about entrepreneurship as a concept, and how can that be used as a tool for wealth generation? Then maybe can you start us off on that?
Sure. You know, I think maybe starting with our youth, starting being a little bit more informative on the resources with our youth. You know, a lot of young, especially young women, that are into hair and makeup and clothes, and they're following trends, and which is amazing. But they, you know, even to start up, let's say, a makeup studio or a hair salon, they don't have the right resources. There's not enough information through social media. You know, I see a lot of banners that'll show stuff about, you know, teeth whitening or, you know, any kind of like hair extension or, you know, what places to buy, you know, for acrylic nails, but we never see those repetitive links or banners to give out the information for businesses to start a business, you know, links or resources for the businesses. So I think, you know, just trying to organize something where there, even if it's a panel of women like us today that create that, you know, I think that would be important. I think that's a way to start. These are things I always think about. I think for me, because I have boys, I've kind of like steered more, and I think I've had this discussion with Prisca once too, you know, especially for young men, when they're in high school at the age of 16, there are no resources, there are no jobs for these young men. You know, you go into these high schools and they don't, you know, just to get a job as a lifeguard, it's such a hassle. Everything has become so complicated. Now during this pandemic, it's going to be even more complicated for these, not just the, you know, young men, but just the youth in general, for these teenagers that are coming out of high school. So trying to find a way to really push that through social media and creating links or resources, I think it's just so freaking important.
Thank you. Rosa, can you add?
Yes, ma'am. I agree with Haydee. We need to start with the youth. For example, I do like pop-up events at my restaurant. You know, I'm like, let me take advantage of the space. So I have other vendors that don't have a storefront, and that's something that maybe you guys could do, where you guys have the right to get some permits, where you have some vendors in the streets that don't have storefronts, that it just creating like a small business community where they could come sell their merchandise, and through your Instagram, through their Instagram, is like marketing, you know, both ways. But yeah, by taking my daughter, she started making beads bracelets, and now she makes like $200 every time so now she's like motivated. She's like, oh, I'm making $200. So I'm like, sometimes adults like to buy from a kid rather than from an adult. So you encouraging them to like start a business, you know, sell something. What can you do that's easily handmade? And then they start learning about the beads. Like, if you wear this, you know, it helps you, you know, with your stress. So little by little, you're not only just teaching them about, you know, business, but it also encourages them to want to make more money. Like, what else can I do? She went from just making bracelets to selling the pins for the Crocs, because, you know, kids like Crocs. But definitely, like I said, we need like more informative like sites. I don't know if it's either more panels, more Zoom calls, more information online, connecting them. Like, if you, let's just say you want to start your own 3D connect with Haydee, you know, here, reach out to this person. She was a panelist in today's, you want to open a bookstore, or you trying to open a book, here, talk to Noelle. So Noelle might charge a fee, but you're still selling her business. And if they really want to learn how to write a book, they have to go to her, you know. So it's like, for you guys, it's like, you're not just helping the businesses that are already there, but you're helping people that want to start their own business connect with certain like-minded individuals. So as a community, we work together, because the businesses that are there, people know about, and the new ones that are coming are going to be encouraged to come to the Bronx because they're learning from like-minded individuals.
Yeah, thank you for that. I wanted to just quickly pull in Noelle. Noelle, I see you not just as a businesswoman, but I see you as an advocate for our community, for communities of color, for entrepreneurs, for small business owners. I'd love to hear your thoughts on entrepreneurship as as wealth creation and generational wealth creation, like Rosa's just been talking about?
So I think entrepreneurship is pivotal in wealth creation, but I don't think that it's for everybody. I believe I'm entrepreneurial. I was very comfortable in my 9-to-5 job. Some days, like the day I had today, I wish I wasn't the one in charge. And I really truly believe that entrepreneurship is a skill. So one of the things that I put a lot of effort into debunking is that like everybody needs to be an entrepreneur. Yes, it's important for if you're trying to create generational wealth, but you know you don't need to it doesn't you don't need to feed 3 generations in order to have a full life. And I don't want to ever underestimate the wealth that our community has right now. As underserved and as underfunded as the Bronx is, the LitBar, I still to this day have not put $1 of my own money into the LitBar to this day. And I conceptualized it in 2015. I started out with my funding with winning business plan competitions. And then the bulk of my money came from a crowdfunding campaign. My average donation was $86. That came from 1,800 people. And that was me cold calling. That was me saving money because Rosa learned how to do her liquor license. So she saved me $6,000 by teaching me how to do my own liquor license. I'm a product of mentorship, not just in my community, but just, reaching out to people across my industry. So I just want to just put the emphasis on the wealth that already exists in our community, because I know a lot of people who have a whole lot of money and they effing miserable, to be honest. And those are the people that I feel bad for in times like this, because they never been punched in the face before. Us being women, Latina, Black from the Bronx, that is the foundation of our essence that has given us the grit to survive these times. And, if we're talking about generational wealth, and if that's the goal, then entrepreneurship is the only path that I'm really familiar with to get there. But I don't think that that's the end all be all. And I just want to, just highlight the wealth of knowledge and community and love that already exists here in the Bronx.
Yeah, that's really powerful, Noelle, and thank you for that, because I think that often gets lost in the discussion. That, as we started tonight by my saying that there is nothing sexy about entrepreneurship. It's a lot of hard work and long, hard hours, and passion and interest is not enough. If that's all you have is passion and interest, that's not enough to get you to where you need to be in the success. And I think it really is important that we're making sure we're directing our energies in the right way, and not just looking at traditional sources and resources. Crowdfunding is an amazing platform to use to help build our businesses. We're lucky enough in New York and in the Bronx to have groups like the Bronx Chamber, groups like SOBRO, and we're two, but we're not the only groups in the borough that exist. Our sole purpose of being is help to support businesses and small businesses. And you need to, as small business owners or folks that are interested in starting a business, take advantage of the opportunities that are right in your backyard, whether it's Rosa, who's available to, Rosa, I'm sending you out to help everybody on their liquor license.
That's fine.
But our business to business supports are just as important and probably even more critical in helping us get there. So just a couple of final questions for this panel and just this amazing discussion. What I've heard social media referenced more than once. I've heard e-commerce referenced more than once. How, for those businesses that may be in existence, how can we help businesses kind of start on that path? that aren't quite certain how to begin to use technology and maximize the availability of technology to help support the business. I will open that up to the panel if anyone wants to jump in on that.
I did here they had a group of kids, you know, very savvy high school students, and they just came in and they're like, okay, they did what's it called when you ask some questions, a search. They asked, what's the word I'm looking for?
A survey.
There you go.
Yeah.
They were doing a survey like, okay, what are you lacking? What are your needs? What do you want to improve in your business? I'm like, I want to reach out more people on social media and vice versa, whatever. And these kids came and they did a presentation. It was a competition between 3 groups of kids, and they really came with some great ideas. So again, going back to what Haydee said, you know, going back to the youth, you get them involved. Their brains, they have no stress, they have no bills, they have nothing to worry about except just be creative. So use them right now before they really get, you know, to that puberty or 18, I don't know. But they're very smart, especially they're the best right now in this tech savvy world. You know, some of the things that they do, I have no idea how to do. But again, Google, I learned it. But that's something that we could definitely use. The youth can help us, you know, improve our businesses and really get the word out there. Because like Noelle's very busy. She doesn't have time to be advertising or putting something on your story. But these kids will do it for extra credit. So if you guys can just find a group of kids, the extra credit, connect with the high schools, give them to us. And then they'll be able to run our social media. Because right now, social media is charging like $300 a month.
Can I piggyback off of that, Lourdes?
Yes.
What Rosa's saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
Going back to that, you know, having that resource link and adding that into the websites to the schools, you know, and entrepreneurship, there should be something there to allow these kids to kind of like, you know, find ways, not only for jobs, because I never see job opportunities on any high school website. I never see it. I never see any kind of like direction to help these kids financially, to educate themselves, to whatever, just to kind of like get them started. And so being able to have some way, some connection with the schools, with the state, to allow us to create something where that's there for them, to have that resource on every high school that exists here for, you know, in New York or across the state, wherever, but just to have it available. I think it's just so important. And, you know, we talk about, you know, generational wealth. I think that's where we need to start. Being able to have that there for them, let something exist for them to go into, because if they come from, you know, like where I come from, not having, you know, family to teach us the you know, how to financially, you know, to educate us about money or how to save money or how to invest our money. At least having these resources in high school and the websites, they'll be able to find it themselves. These kids, like Rosa said, they're a lot smarter than we are today, you know?
Yeah. The only time that I see them is in career day, when they get business owners to go to schools and speak up about what you do and everything. That's the only time I get to speak to these kids. But if we could come around them or they could come around us and really learn from what we got to do, Noelle might find, they might want to be inspired by Noelle and they want to be inspired and open another bookstore in the Bronx, not outside of the Bronx. So it's kind of like just giving them that inspiration and just passing the throne to them, so then they could continue what we're doing in the Bronx, you know, after we get older. So
allow me to jump in here for a second, and if you don't mind, I have to say that you have hit the nail on the head as it relates to students and the opportunities that are given. Unfortunately, all you hear is the negative ideas and what these kids are doing, and they are yet so smart and so motivated, and they're just looking for that opportunity. So this really is a super important conversation that shouldn't end here, because especially this year where they've been cooped up and they've lost the resources of being out and about, and businesses are struggling, don't know how to pivot into the technical world, and this is like the perfect opportunity for them to do it. With this came a question in the chat to me about how important it is to have a college education in deciding to start or acquire your own business. Be careful how you answer. The really tricky question.
Yeah, I guess I saw the question, Lisa, and I guess the question is that presumes everybody has a college education. So I guess that is the question for the panel. If you do have a college education, or even if you don't, do you think that is important in order for someone to start a successful business?
Yes and no.
Depends.
Yeah. I say that it helped me because I love math. So I like numbers, and it just helps you figure certain things out. But sometimes, you know, when you're from the Bronx, you know, you really have that street smart. So you really know how to, like, you just survival mode. You figure everything out, and it's just asking the right questions. I've learned more from being around other people from like career day in high school or whatever than anything in college. There's a lot of things in college that I learned that I'm not using in my business right now. But there's a lot of things that I did learn that I could apply when it comes to, because I do the books for my restaurant. And then thank God I know Microsoft Office, which I did learn in, you know, in school. So there's a few things. I would say 50-50.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I think education is necessary in some aspects. Yes. And of course, it depends also on your background and your field. But it's not going to help you with everything. I learned a lot of the creative stuff in school, but life taught me the other things. And kind of pigging off of some of the other responses for the other questions, you know, my parents weren't able to teach me certain things. They didn't have an education or an understanding of finances or how to start a business also. So a lot of these things I had to learn on my own. And part of, you know, entrepreneurship is not for everybody, but I think having an education, whether you have a degree or your 9-to-5 job or you're a business owner, you know something, and that's something you can pass to your children and create that generational wealth there, because that knowledge is not always going to be given to you in school. Experience gives you way more knowledge than being in a classroom. And unfortunately, school leaves out a lot of life's many necessities, financial, education, economics, dealing with different personalities and people. School doesn't teach you all those things. So it's necessary in some aspects, but not for everything.
Not to open a business.
Definitely.
I agree with you guys.
Yeah. Education.
So I just want.
Yes.
Go ahead, Rosa. I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say it is needed. Before I became the owner, when I was just an employee at My Haven, I was going to hostels college because I was going for RN, you know, to become a nurse. I do need a college degree for that.
Of course.
That is hands down. There's no way I'm gonna go and take your temperature and draw your blood just because of what I Googled, you know? So for that, you do need a degree. To be a restaurant owner, I could say, no, you don't need it. You know, you just have to, you know, working in a restaurant, from being a waitress and really learning and seeing everything, you just have to really pay attention to everything that's happening, how it's happening, who's handling what. And since the beginning, I've been very hands-on. You know, people see me as an owner, but I do the books, I do the schedule, I do the payroll, I do everything. I don't have a bookkeeper. I never had a bookkeeper for 7 years. And I'm the one doing all the reconciliation every month, filing taxes, and I just love it. Again, it's numbers. I like it. So.
Very impressive.
So we're gonna, I'll just do a quick time check. It's 10 after 8. We are scheduled to go through 8:30. There is an opportunity for folks, if you'd like to ask our panelists some questions. There is a Q&A chat room available. So we want to make sure that we leave some time for folks to ask some questions, and I'm not monopolizing. I will monopolize one last time. I will take advantage of my position as moderator and ask each of our panelists for just a quick, what advice would you give to any Latina that's looking to start a business? Just a quick round. Just what's the one thing that you think is the most important to share as far as your business? And I'll let whoever wants to go first.
I'll go first. I think the most important thing, if you really want to start a business, stop second guessing yourself. If you want to do it, just do it. Sometimes it's best to just take action and get to it. If you start talking and be like, oh, Haydee, I'm going to open a business. What do you think? Lisa, I'm going to open a business. Stop asking people that are not like-minded like you for an opinion or to kind of help you understand something that you're trying to figure out, and they're probably not going to approve. So move in silence, stop talking to weak-minded individuals, and just really do your homework. If you want to go into books, sit in at the LitBar and go there. If you want to learn about wood and art and art, what's it called?
Art.
You want to know about ultrasound and pregnancy, you go to hey, can I just sit with you and see what you do? Just ask the right questions. And again, most importantly, do not second guess yourself. That's what I say. Just go for it. You're either going to learn from it and do it better the next time, but if not, you're just going to be living your life with regrets.
Rosa, I don't know if you noticed, but in the chat, someone said, oh my God, are you talking to me?
Oh yeah, someone say speaking.
Do it, Erica.
Tiffany, what advice would you offer?
I think I would say, even though we don't really want to hear this, failure comes with it. Failure will always come with having a business. There are going to be those moments when things are just not going well and you're going to want to quit. I know I have, over the last 4 years, thought about quitting and closing my business at least once a month because of some hard times, but push through anyway, hold on to your vision, don't let it go, and have those hard moments provide you with the ability to pivot and change direction if you need to, but don't give up.
Thank you. Haydee?
You know, I try to give the same advice to all my clients that I talk to as they come into my ultrasound studio. Stop making excuses, you know, stop feeling that you're not going to be able to balance out being a mom or just being a wife or a girlfriend and opening up your business. Stop settling. Stop thinking that you have to stay stagnant in one place and keep thinking growth. I tell this to all the girls that come in. Find something that you love, that you passion, whether it's, you know, cooking or sewing or doing hair, and create that as your business. You know, wake up in the morning and find yourself every day trying to commit into something that's going to make you feel good about yourself. You know, I always, every time I have a girl that comes in, I always try to help push that with them. You know, I want to see, especially my Latino women, I want to see them grow. You know, and I don't find myself in a place where I feel like I should have to charge someone to help educate them, especially if they've come in the same situation or circle or place where I've come from. I just want to see someone grow, and that, for me, that's more rewarding. That, for me, fills me in so many different levels. And so, you know, the best advice I can give to a woman is just wake up and do it. It's never too late. It's never too late.
Thank you for that. Noelle, take it home.
My advice.
Drop the mic on it, girl.
My advice for anyone who wants to start a business is don't try to start a business. Solve a problem.
There you go. There you go. Wise words.
Solve the problem. I love that word.
Solve the problem. No excuses. Think growth. Move in silence, and failure is part of the equation. I think those encapsulates a lot of the incredible wisdom that I've been hearing. And Lisa, I think you and I have a project around youth entrepreneurship.
That's what it sounds like
as well.
And I am so excited.
I would love to do some work on this.
Absolutely.
It's really exciting. So I want to just just check in the Q&A to see if we have any questions. Someone asked, would you all consider starting a mentoring program together and building it up, adding others who will be great mentors to the community and youth?
That's to Lourdes and Lisa.
Absolutely. I would definitely be open to that.
That's to you guys.
Yeah.
And I will say this, before I came to the chamber, I used to do mentoring with elementary and middle school. And I think that it was one of the most satisfying, being able to just share that moment, because then you get the students back and you run across from them and they will just have these words of wisdom, saying that one moment where you think it's not important, that they have taken it with them. And so I agree. I think mentorship, especially in a time where we are in a unique, unfortunate time, and businesses are struggling, and young women like yourselves are coming up and showing that you can succeed no matter what. It's an opportunity for us to share that out. You know, and I wish we would have had more young women on this. And I think that maybe, to your point, Lourdes, you know, focusing on bringing in a panel like this with our young students, with students that are just need to hear the positive. There's so much negativity right now. And these words of encouragement, even I want to go open something. I'll solve a problem, Noelle. I'll figure out the problem, but I'm going to solve it. Okay.
Yeah, and I think, you know, we talked a little bit earlier about mentorship. I think it was you that, I know Rosa said women, and I think Haydee, you said mentorship, it was critical to your startup, but really not just the mentorship, but the champion, right? So it's not just someone who's going to give you that advice, but someone who's going to promote you. So that when someone says to me, you know, I'm looking for a design firm in the Bronx, I could say, hey, have you met Tiffany Gomez? She's the woman that you need to speak to, because she's going to provide some amazing products for you. And if you're looking for, ultrasound services, I've got this fantastic person that you need to get to meet. And so, you know, mentorship is very different from championing an individual, and we definitely need both. We need to, you know, not just give advice, but also promote each other. Someone asked in the chat, how do you approach someone when you need help? I struggle asking people, especially if they're busy. What words of wisdom would you give for that?
Noelle.
Well,
so I have a lot to say about mentorship. Feel free to wrap me up because I'm very wordy. But I talk about this all the time because I'm somebody who's very busy. I got Department of Health harassing me every day. Like, girl, exhaust Google before you exhaust me. But there are some people that I'm a product of mentorship, and there are some people that I am just like so excited about to just pay it forward. The what they've invested in me, and Rosa happens to be one of those people. And what I'm looking for when I'm choosing mentees is like, what have you done up to this point to show me that you're invested in your own journey? Because what I find is that, people are attracted to what they see of what I'm doing. The LitBar is very high profile. We work with a lot of celebrities, and they're just like attracted to the shine. But I haven't seen them do any of the work that I'm always saying that I've done. I have blogs about it, articles that I've done, classes that I've taken. I never see them applying themselves to the or becoming familiar with the information that's already out there. So those are the things that I get excited about helping somebody, is when they come to me and they said, I read that you took this course, so I took this course because I want to open a bookstore too. And I will make time for those people when I see, not just taking a course, but any way that they've shown me that they are working on themselves. Because mentorship and mentees and mentors, like it's a relationship. You're not gonna just drain me. It's and it doesn't have to be monetary, because I've never charged my mentees $1, but the payment for me is seeing you succeed, and I'm not gonna be there with you every day. It's gonna be you in the game, and I can point you in the right direction. But I'm not gonna be there I'm not gonna be there with you, step by step. So I need to see that you're fully invested in you before you ask me to invest in you. And the payment for me, the thing that fills me up, is seeing you win. So just let me catch you working on the work. When I meet people who are already doing their own pop-up shops, or if I meet them at conferences and I know they paid $20 to get in the conference, or if they're engaged with me in my social media all the time, and eventually you become familiar with the names and you build those organic relationships, that's what shows me that you're invested. And don't just approach me like I'm like in a transactional manner. Try to build an organic relationship with me.
I love that.
Thanks, Noelle. I just want to, we have 2 more questions. I want to just take 2 more questions that were in the chat because I thought they were super important, and I know we are running low on time. One of the questions was, as busy business owners, what self-care routines do you have? Again, we've talked a little bit about work-life balance. And self-care is just as important as anything else. So what are your personal self-care routines?
For those that have heard me speak, I believe in sleeping 4 to 5 hours a day. My routine is, I like to wake up an hour before my kids. So I like to wake up at 5 a.m. just so I could have that me time, where I shower and it's so peaceful. And then, it's quiet. And then I go brew my cup of coffee and I sit down and I'm all about, the stones and I sage sometimes, or I put the incense, and I listen to Joe Osteen. So I start my morning with God, or a podcast, quote of the day. I'm big on that. So it's I start with inspiration. Okay, give me some positive stuff. Mm-hmm. I try to move away from social media being the first thing, because sometimes I post something and the first thing I'm gonna do, I want to reply to everybody. Mm-hmm. But I try to do. I cheat sometimes. I do it sometimes at 6 a.m. You might get a reply from me. Sometimes you get it later on during the day. But just start your day, I guess, with God and just not in a rush. That's my routine. I don't want to be rushing in the morning because, especially Spanish people and people in the Bronx, we wake up, we say, oh, we got to be there at 7. You wake up at 6:30 to shower, to rush your kids. And then you don't count traffic. So just take your time, just move your way slowly throughout the day. And I think that's why I don't really stress anything or anybody. That's my routine. That's why I don't really have a ring.
I was like, Rosa's skin is glowing.
Girl, I have a little bit of Anastasia pencil, but it's I just don't stress. I think I was meant to be an entrepreneur because I don't really get stressed out too much. I don't allow anybody to stress me too much. And then whatever podcast I listen to, it's I try not to let that person that's in a rush, that person woke up 30 minutes before leaving the house, and now they're rushing and they're cursing at me because I'm moving slow, but I just let them go.
Yeah.
Sometimes the Bronx comes out.
I'm right in the same boat with you, Rosa. Mornings, I try to get up earlier than my son because I need that time to pray, to meditate, and I have to work out. I have to either run or do my intense HIIT workouts or cardio, whatever it is, because I feel so much better. I feel energized. I can be a better mom when I have that time for myself because I can release that energy. And I homeschool my son too, so that's another job.
Oh no, girl! I tried it for 2 weeks. I tried it for 2 weeks. I'm this is not for me.
I've been doing it pretty much since he was born, so it's this worked out kind of perfect for me because I'm just continuing with it. But what's helped me too with the homeschooling is that I've implemented a quiet time so that in the midst of all that, because it does get really stressful, I just have about 20 minutes of just complete and utter silence. He can play quietly and I can think and just relax and take a deep breath. And then, just anytime you need to make time for yourself. You absolutely must. No matter what you do, you have kids, job, you need that time for you. Even if it's 20 minutes, take it.
I agree.
Noelle, is there anything you want to close us out with?
There's another question about what are your thoughts on keeping your 9 to 5 while starting up?
That's right for you, boo. That's right for you. You have your little 9 to 5.
That one really struck me. So I'll try to be quick. So I kept my 9 to 5 while I started up my business. And I conceptualized the LitBar in 2015. And then I didn't leave my job until the day my construction started in March of 2018. And during that time, I was a pop-up shop and I took my time to really learn and research and do the LitBar without a location to really test the market. And I looked at my job like it was my investor because I'm not I only take calculated risks. I'm not a big risk taker. I need to research everything to death before I move on it. And I'm not going to change because it works for me. So I always tell people, like, ignore what social media says about you need to start an LLC tomorrow and quit your job and just go for it. It is okay to build your business. You have nights and weekends. I use my nights and weekends vacation and sometimes my sick days to do what I have to do in order to build my business. And I know the next thing you're gonna say is, well, I don't have no time. You would be surprised how much time you have if you just audit your time. If, I spend all the time you spend on social media, all the time that you spend, binging on Netflix is gonna take some sacrifices, but those sacrifices are only for seasons. And now I could take 4 to 10 days at a time for self-care. But in the beginning, that was not my reality. So you're gonna go through those seasons, and I am such a huge advocate for keeping your 9 to 5 while you study the market, while you get your name out there, because you have that security and you're not acting from a place of desperation. You're acting on the best interest of growing the business because you have that security.
So true.
Thank you for that, Noelle. So we're out of time. I think, when you get a bunch of Latinas together, we could talk all night. And I know that I have learned a lot from each and every one of you. And I'm just so incredibly impressed by just you. I'm impressed by you. You guys are amazing. So thank you. Thank you for taking the time. I've sat on a lot of panels. I've moderated a lot of panels, and I have to say by far, this is one of the best that I have had the honor and pleasure to be a part of. So thank you very much for the experience. And hopefully you've had a chance to look in the chat. I think a lot of our participants feel the same way. Lisa, I want to thank you and the Bronx Chamber of Commerce for hosting us this evening. Prisca Salazar Rodriguez and Teresa Gonzalez, I want to thank you for pulling this amazing group of women together. And I am so incredibly grateful that you have asked me or chose me to be part of this. Just incredibly grateful for that. Thank you so much. I want to thank our panelists for taking time out of your incredibly busy days and incredibly busy schedules, as we've heard, to talk to us and share your wisdom, share your passion, and share your advice for those of us that are trying to kind of figure out where to get started. Rosa Garcia, owner of the Mott Bar and Grill, and your newest venture, Create Cafe. Suerte.
Oh no, I closed Create Cafe.
Oh,
so it's
sorry,
okay. It's okay. I have Rosa. I have a restaurant called named after me, so it will be coming in April.
There you go. So we all have to make
we will
sure
be there with the ribbon.
Oh, you will be there.
If you're from the Bronx and you don't know the Mott Bar and Grill, then you don't know. So make sure you guys get there. It's quickly becoming, if it hasn't already, just a real institution in the borough of the Bronx. So Rosa, congratulations on your success. And happy early birthday.
Thank you.
That's right. Happy birthday.
Rosa's birthday's coming up. Tiffany Gomez from the Gomez Design Studio, thank you for bringing your art and your creativity to a community that is in desperate need of both. And just really congratulations to you on the Gomez Design Studio. Haydee Longmore from Haylo 3D, 5D imaging. Haydee, you are a pioneer in industries where you don't see a lot of women, where you don't see a lot of women of color, and you don't see a lot of Latinas. So you are definitely on the frontier. Congratulations and thank you. And last but certainly not least, there's bossy and bookish in the South Bronx, Noel Santos of the LitBar, who is dropping the mic on all of us. Thank you, Noelle, for everything that you've done. You've really just brought just an exciting and passionate business to our borough. So thank you for doing that. Ladies, God bless. Buenas noches. Thank you very much for everything that you have given us this evening. Have a wonderful night and stay safe and stay well.
Thank you for everything you did tonight.
Bye, Lisa.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, all of our participants as well. Sorry, I forgot to
Absolutely.
mention that. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Lourdes, and
Good
you and
night.
I will follow up.
Yes, we got work
We
to
got
do.
work to do.
We got work to do.
We're from the Bronx and that's what we do.
And I'm
That's
gonna
it.
follow up.
Good night, ladies.
Good night,
Bye.
everyone.
Good night.